Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. What's going on, everybody? Let's see. Shout out where you're from. Get the chat going a little bit here. Let's see. And also make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook so we can see your name. And shout out where you're watching from, of course. Mark Tony's here. What's going on? Mark Beecher, Indianapolis, Illinois here. What's up, Nathan? The teaser is, I spit on myself. Sorry. The teaser is amazing. Desiree, what's happening? Joey Browning, of course, from Durham is here. LA's in the house. Raleigh's in the house. Mike Mahler. Vibo is sponsoring this, by the way. ViboDJ.com. If you're not already a user, go check it out. Mike Mahler is on the broadcast. He's the owner. He's down in Bogota, Colombia. I don't want to ask what you're doing there. Lexington, Kentucky's here. Virginia Beach is in the building. Rhode Island's here. People from all across the world. Anyway, welcome, everybody. Got another Wednesday webinar. What's up, John Roach? Today, and we got our friend Stephanie with us. If you haven't caught it yet, she actually made one of the new Vault Educator videos for us. Let's see, we dropped that on July 1st, and it was about, taking personal time for yourself. And she is a practice what you preach kind of woman, and just got back from vacation and was super delayed on her flight last night. So she got in at 4 a.m. and she's still here with us today. Let's bring her on. What's up, Steph?
Hi, good morning.
Hi. So Stephanie is here. She made it. She was like texting me yesterday. I was like, look, I don't know if I'm even going to be back where I'm supposed to be, but and I was like, well, listen, the email blast doesn't go out till 10 a.m. I just need to know before 10 a.m. So I'm glad you made it. Thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you.
We got people from all over on today.
Awesome. Hi, everybody.
Just turning you up a little bit. ATL's here. Alberta's here. So she and I were talking back and forth over the last couple of months about what, we were going to talk about, or what she was going to talk about. If you haven't seen Stephanie speak, she is really good. She did the MEX show, which was in February or March of this year. And then she just told me, on the roster for DJX, which is next month in just a few weeks, really, in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of our East Coast friends are going to be there. If you're going to be there, shout out in the chat. If you still are thinking about going, message me. I'll send you a code. I think my code gets an all access pass for like $179 instead of $419. What's up, Rudy in Dallas? Again, if you don't mind, hit StreamYard.com/Facebook so we can see your name. Yes, the Ragozas will definitely be there. Fantastic. So anyway, she and I were going back and forth. We were talking, and she was telling me about this book that she had read, and we were talking about the actual title is "The Power of Moments." Chip and Dan Heath. If this is something you want to get on Audible or Amazon, and she kind of read it and was like, wow, this, can apply to many different businesses. But of course, as a DJ herself, I just wanted to, yes, she is beautiful. I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that, just in case y'all don't know her. But she is a DJ just like us. And, how this book, this Power of Moments book kind of applied to what we did. And so, I wanted to bring her on and talk about how she or we as a collective kind of family of DJs can do better, or exaggerate or elaborate on these moments, right? Because we are memory creators, and I think that's why I've been doing this so long. It's, part of the longevity of it is it is so rewarding to get to the end of the event and get a hug, or to get a letter, 2 weeks after from a couple and saying how awesome it was. And so anyway, I'm rambling. Let's get to talking. Steph, kind of take it away and just break down, what you want to talk about today. And obviously I'm right here listening and taking notes like everybody else.
Sure. I mean, the book itself is awesome,
Yeah.
and it had a lot of really good points that I tried to get across at the other seminar. But I think the takeaways that were important for me aren't even. I think I can like associate them with the book, but let's put the book aside for like just a second, and I'll kind of get into like some of the things that I experienced maybe
Mhm.
in the DJ world with certain people who are creating these magic moments that are like inspiring. And I think between like all the different things that I'm seeing, like if we all start incorporating a little bit of these, we level up our game like a little bit each time. So the book says quickly, to create epic moments, you need to have certain aspects or certain things happening in order for them to be really memorable and magic. So um, I think that what the DJs are doing with their equipment and behind the scenes is like bringing all of that together. So let's say, for example, things I'm trying to incorporate that I've learned at all of these different expos. I take like one little thing at a time and I start incorporating it that I've learned from other people. So, like, for example, Chris Washburn does like the video. He records the video from the ceremony and then he
Oh,
replays
yeah.
it in the first dance. That is super special for a lot of people. I can't do that, but I love that idea, and maybe at some point I'll be able to do that. I've got a person who, or actually, Nikki Nell was just talking about how she spotlights people during their dances, and that creates more of a moment than some of us who don't do those things. So watching what all these other DJs are doing and listening to them and seeing like, ooh, that excites me or that interests me. What can I do? How do I bring that into my events? Something else I've learned that I love and nobody's taken me up on yet is to record like special sentiments before the first dance or the father daughter or parent dances or any of those special dances where I say, send me something that you've recorded on your phone or have your parents
Mm.
record and send it to me. And then I'll say, usually the first dance just starts. I introduce you. It's the parent dance or it's the first dance. But how more special would it be if we did things like have them hold hands and then we play the sentiments that they've recorded to each other and I play them, they haven't heard them. It's like a secret kind of like message and then it's a little bit more special. So like things like that. Like the book says incorporate all of these different elements to make it epic, but I think like we're already doing so many moments. We've got ceremonies, we've got cocktail hours, we've got all the different events that happen during the reception. So like they're already like magic moments, but how do we make them even more special is kind of like the
I
gist
like
of
that.
like, how do we do that? What are the
Yeah.
things we can do?
Yeah. 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 I love that. What so tell me a little bit about like when you spoke at Mex, because I was just telling her I never even made it to the show. Like I didn't see her. I didn't see anybody. I never even saw the trade show floor. Name of the book again, sorry.
Oh,
Was
it's called The Power of Moments by Chris and Dan Heath.
somebody just jumped in the chat and said that. And
And
I
I
just
have like a whole entire Canva presentation. I don't know if it'll make much sense without all of my yapping along with it, but I might be able to share that after as well.
yeah,
It
for
does have a
sure.
lot of
That's where I was
information
kind of
in it.
going with this. Like walk us back a little bit, to the presentation, because I know it kind of correlates with what we're talking about here today and what you talked about and what I missed essentially.
So I had jet lag and I had partied the night before, and my mind is already like an ADD scrambled, jumbled mess. So I really tried to get 50 different points across, and I started off by discussing how incredible the DJ takeover is. So for all those DJs who were on the takeover stage the night before were chosen, they put in a lot of hard work and effort into their mixes to get chosen, and then they performed in front of all of their peers, and it's on a big stage. It's in Vegas, so it had all of the elements that the book was talking about. Um, God, I can't think right now. Pride, connection. Um, oh, my brain is going dead for this. Hold on one second. Um, I gotta take out my notes.
That's all right. Yeah. I can't
Um,
remember. I do a presentation once and then I forget.
I know, and honestly, like last night with the lack of sleep and everything, I've gone over this stuff in my brain the entire week. But I'm so tired right now. It's elevation, pride,
Oh
insight,
yeah.
and connection. So that stands for EPIC if you want to make a acronym out of it.
Yep. Yep.
And so adding all of those elements, that's I kind of started off talking about how the DJ takeover does all that, and it incites pride in the DJ who made it into the takeover. They get that moment on stage, like their 15 minutes to show their peers. Not only is that one of the scariest moments you can ever,
Playing in
take
front of a
part
bunch of
in.
people. Right.
Yeah, so I had tied that in because I had done that the year before, and like that was something that I had been inspired to do. So taking inspiration from the other DJs that we're seeing was huge for me. And I think like that moment to me with the bright lights, it was in Vegas. It held all of the moments of like an epic moment. So for people who are in the crowd, maybe it were inspired to take that stage, and that for me was a huge magic moment in my life. I performed in Vegas. I'll never forget that moment. I'll never forget the moment where I was told I was accepted, and so that to me was like, oh my God, I have to work my ass off now. I've not only been accepted to perform in front of my peers, but I'm in Vegas, bright lights, all
Mhm.
of these exciting elements. So you really just bring your A game and you get the most out of that experience. And when you get home, you're either proud or disappointed or whatever it is. I don't know. For me, that was a huge magic moment. So I just wanted
Yeah.
other people to see that, if you've never taken the stage and bright lights and big sound systems and all these other DJs with their exciting energy, like how much of a cool moment that is and how you feel at that time is the same feeling you should be bringing to your guests and your couples or whoever it is that's hiring you. Where I think it's good to put yourself in those shoes is to remember sometimes that like we're so used to creating moments for other people that we're not used to creating them for ourselves
True.
or other
Yeah.
people in our lives. So if I can connect that to the education video, I created some magic moments for my son this past week in Florida because I work all year round, like most
Mhm.
DJs, and like he sees me leaving all the time, and I always tell him we'll book our one vacation, we'll have our special time together, and that's my time to create magic moments for my son. Otherwise, he's just going to be like, oh my God, my mom worked my entire life and like didn't
Mhm.
take time out for me. So every year I make sure as a parent I'm doing that for my kid. Well, I have two kids, so both of them. I tried to take my older son to Atlantic City also, which I did 2 years ago, and he had an epic time. So
Mhm.
we do that for ourselves. We do that for our family, our friends, and then hopefully, our clients. They all see the benefits of our hard work.
Yeah, for sure. And you and I were talking a little bit about some of those things, elevation, pride, insight, connection. And then I've taught, ad nauseum to people YouTube videos when I still had a little bit of hair left that didn't do that great, but were so full of information. So I chopped them down into smaller reels, and so much of that stuff was about this point number two that just referring back to your notes that we were talking about, was like customer experience or customer service. I mean,
Absolutely.
I've had so many DJs that worked for me that were below average as a DJ, but so off the charts above average as a person and as a quick responder and a problem solver and what I call a yes man. You know, that if the client asked them, "Hey, can you do this?" They didn't even know if we could do it or not, and they would just say yes. So, talk a little bit about that, like customer experience or customer satisfaction or service, and how
Sure.
it relates to, you know, the book, you, life, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I came from the background of hospitality and customer
Yeah.
service in the hotel industry and also in yachting. So that's some really high-end stuff where you're constantly making sure guests are happy and they have everything they need. You're going above and beyond. You're exceeding expectations, you're anticipating needs. So all of these things are like people don't even have to ask you. You already know through either
Mm,
experience or just like my background has just really taught me how to relate to my clients and how to not sell to them.
mm.
We talk. So my customer experience is changing a little bit recently now that I've incorporated CRM. But before, I would just sit and meet with them and we would talk. We would get to know each other a little bit through conversation. I don't have an office, so we would just meet at like Starbucks. And I would just ask them personal questions. And through getting to know them, through them getting to know me, because it's a give and take with the information, you really want them to feel comfortable with you. And then by the time you leave that little meeting, you're more like friends if the vibe went smoothly and you automatically get that sale. So it's
Mm.
like you're not even selling them, you're just talking to them, you're getting to know them. You're just telling them what you have to offer. And so before I was doing it on Word documents, I wasn't even like I know I think I saw one of your videos in the vault that said you have like a whole thing they walk in, you show them, it gives
Yeah.
them all the information by the time they don't have any questions. So I
Yeah.
was doing that all without like a presentation mode,
No
but
screen. Right. Hmm.
yeah, I have an outline. So through my background, I detailed a lot of events.
Mm.
So weddings, corporate, I all of the little details from like napkins to number counts to food orders, and I've taken care of all of those details. So in my head, I'm a details person, and I realize a lot of DJs are not like
Right.
people. We're creatives. So I think that by incorporating a lot of stuff that isn't even DJ related, just people skills,
Mhm.
you create that environment where people want to book you based on your availability. They don't care, if you're booked one day, they'll find another day where they can fit you in. I've gone through that with a few times over the last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now. They've
Yeah.
rescheduled, and finally we've got them locked into September. But that's what you want. You want to create such like
Good.
a vibe with your clients that it's easy. If it's the right ideal client, then it's an easy sell without
Yeah,
selling.
like, I mean, I've seen kind of the back end of what you used to do in the hospitality world, those BEOs or whatever they call them,
Yes,
banquet
yes,
event order. I'm like,
yes,
"This
yes.
is insane." Like, I think I have a lot of planning and paperwork, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I've never seen anything like this." Like she said, down to how the napkins are folded, what color the linens are. I mean, like, those BEO forms are bonkers, especially in the big hotels. So let's talk a little bit about this line that was, or this chapter, or however they broke it down, about breaking the script. I
Hmm.
like this thing where you were saying like disrupting the expected, um, you know, whatever everybody expects from a DJ or a wedding DJ or a mobile DJ,
Hmm.
you know, to be able to change it up. And I've found that, you know, for me, I'm not a comedian, but I'm good at being personable. So I've never adopted and was never really mentored by anybody because I just kind of started from infancy doing this, but I never had that mentor or was in the radio world to where I had that big hey guys, welcome to the Crystal Ballroom tonight. I'm your DJ Joe Bunn, and I never did that. I was always very just talk like you talk, you know, and hey guys, welcome. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Couples coming through that door right over there. Y'all gonna make a bunch of noise when they come in. Blah, you know, it was almost like a conversation. And
Yes.
so I felt like that was more disruptive or more got more people to pay attention than it did to be this kind of over the top what they expected or what the stereotypical cheeseball wedding DJ is. But kind of talk a little bit about this breaking the script or things that you've done, throughout your career or currently do to break up the norm or what
Sure.
everybody's seen at every wedding they went to in the past 2 years.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I come from a background of like karaoke hosting.
Yeah.
So it's a very conversational, interactive,
Yeah.
comfortable. A lot of people are drinking already. And so I'm the same way as you. I don't have a voice. I don't go out there and I don't have a persona per se where I go out there and I become
Somebody else.
host. I'm
Yeah.
just me the whole time, and I
Mm.
think that's what people expect. So if I'm bringing breaking the script into what the book was explaining,
Yeah.
I think it was Spirit Airlines. My memory, is so terrible. But breaking the script in the book referred to how they took the normal everyday airline spiel, and they hired people, comedians and scriptwriters, to make it funny. And every
Mm.
time those the airline stewardess people or whoever they are, attendants, started reading the scripts, you didn't know they were reading a script. You just thought like that person was being funny and you're in your seat laughing all of a sudden when normally you're scared out of your mind because they're telling you, buckle your seatbelt. If you're gonna
Right.
die, grab the thing
Dive
out
in
from
the
underneath your
water. Right.
plane. Yeah, so that's an example of breaking the script is like taking the norm and then changing it up. So I like to also be a little bit of a comedian, not on purpose, but I see opportunities to like insert a little bit of humor.
Same.
Like for example, one time we were doing the wedding lineup and it was a kind of a more informal wedding and I was bantering with everybody quite a bit and one of the groomsmen was missing and
Mhm.
all of a sudden I'm like it just came to me. It was like are any of the bridesmaids missing? Or like any
Oh,
other girls in here missing? Like, and then I was like, oh shit, what if he's married? But like it just dawned on me, well, like, what if he's off with somebody? I don't know. It was totally probably inappropriate, but it worked and it generated a lot of laughter. And then I feel like the more people are comfortable with you because you're just being yourself and you're authentic in who you are. And if you have a little bit of humor, hopefully it goes over well. I wouldn't say like, try to be a
no,
comedian,
not
but
yeah. It's not. You're not using dirty words, or you're not going
no, 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 no. You're
to
trying
the
to have fun.
fifth level of it, right? And I'm the same way. It's like I don't, I'm not Kevin Hart, or Chris Rock, but if I can get a little joke in like that, I think it goes a long way for these people to see that you're not so robotic. I remember
Yes,
one
yes.
of my favorite ones was, the big thing where like couples now they don't really know if the officiant is going to stay or not. The officiant's usually invited to the wedding. Well, and I was like, "Oh, okay, our whatever. Before we eat tonight, Father Phil's going to come up and say the blessing." And then I see a couple people like, giving me the cut sign, like, and then I hear somebody say, "I think he already left," and I just, I go, "Is anybody feeling holy?" And this old man, like, this old man puts his hand up, and I just walked
Good.
the mic over to him. I was like, "Would you like to do the blessing?" And he absolutely nailed it, like best blessing ever. And I was like, "Wow, that really went in my favor." But
I
it was
love
like
that.
it's almost like one of those things that pops in your head, and you shouldn't say it, but you're just like, "What's the worst that could happen?" And everybody kind of laughed, and I mean, I guess I would have just given a blessing if he hadn't raised his hand. You know what I mean? It's like it can only go so many directions at that point.
You know
Oh
what I love?
man.
Just to talk about officiants real quick, I've had several couples recently that have hired like their friends
Mm.
or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
somebody that they know to like marry them.
Yeah.
And talk about breaking the script. You're usually expecting the same old, same old.
Stoic,
I've never
boring.
laughed so hard during
Yeah,
vows. We
yeah,
were cracking up. It was
yeah,
like the friend was a comedian. And
yeah,
how awesome for that wedding to like sit through something different like that. So sometimes I ask them, do you have an officiant? And I say, what kind of ceremony are you going for? Are you more serious, a little bit more
yeah,
comfortable? 'Cause I like to get my network involved because the more we refer each other, that's, uh, you know, washing each
right.
other's back kind of thing.
Scratch
So
scratch my
I
back,
have,
that's yours, right.
yeah, and I have different officiants or different photographers I like to recommend to different couples depending on like their vibe.
That's right.
So, but then also I don't mind saying sometimes like, well, if you have a friend or a family member, an aunt, uncle, cousin, whoever, best man who is funny, Like if not everybody's doing like a really serious ceremony, then like it's kind of a good idea. But I mean, I've also been the DJ that has tried to incorporate like a drag queen into my to
Hmm.
host my dinners or a
Sure.
cocktail hour. So
Got to
I'm
be
like
the right
always,
woman.
it's got to be, yeah, but I have a huge like I work with a lot of gay events, so this is
Hmm.
perfect. I finally
Hmm.
have a couple looking into it again this year because we brought the idea up I think right before COVID,
Hmm.
and then COVID, and then
Right.
we're trying it again. So I love having these outside of the box ideas. And one of my friends I just talked to yesterday, he's created he puts a woman or a man inside this. Uh, it looks like a Christmas tree skirt almost, but
Okay.
he's designed and welded it so that it holds champagne
Oh
glasses.
yeah, we have a girl that does that here.
It's
It's
amazing. So
so
I
freaking
always
cool.
say,
Yeah.
yeah, like, do you want to have like a walking champagne display
Yeah.
or like a human champagne display? So I'm the kind of person that's like, I come up with all of these ideas outside the box. I'm like, you just take what you want and incorporate it. And if this sounds crazy to you, completely ignore me.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, there's a company Elevate here that does that. Yeah, it's almost like this metal dress, and then it's got wine flutes all around it. It's so
So
cool.
cool.
I like this. Mark Beecher was saying, I guess when we were talking about, how we MC it, I congratulate the guests for making the cut. That's kind of cool. And to break the ice, like, hey, look, they could
That's
have invited,
funny,
yeah, they could have invited anybody. Y'all are here.
right? You
So
guys are the chosen ones.
circling back on that, and talking, a little bit more about this power of moments thing. Like, talk a little bit more because you kind of went into it a little bit, and I think I interrupted you about like relationships, not only vendor relationships but client relationships, how you're building those, how you foster those. Talk a little bit about both, like client and vendor relationships, because again, with people like us, it may be 6, 9, 12 months of a relationship before you even get to this party or event.
Yeah, I think that starts with building an authentic brand online so that when people find you and they want to meet with you, they kind of already generally know what to expect if they've
Yeah.
sifted through your Instagram or your website. So I think just by being yourself online and putting out your niche areas that you like to work with, you attract your ideal clients. And then when you meet with them, it's really easy for them to relate to you. They already have like a sense of who you are. So when you get to meet with them again, if you're doing a thing where you're just being yourself, you're being friendly, you're just meeting and talking and you're not trying to sell them, because honestly I don't want to have clients hire me because I encouraged them to, like, I want them to want me, like the song says, like I want you to want me and then I want to work for you, but I don't want to beg or convince someone to hire me. So that comes through in my meetings where it's like, let's talk, this is
Mm,
what I have to offer. And then you have to get to know what they want, and then if you notice like that's not your client, then maybe not during the meeting, but during the follow up, you let them know exactly, how you felt during the meeting. I felt like we had a great connection,
mm,
or I feel like maybe I might be able to refer you to another DJ who might be able to, fit your genres better, or your vibe better. But I don't want to take a gig just because somebody reaches out to me either. I want to see if we're the right fit, because some people might reach out to you for the wrong reasons. And
mm,
I've had people say, I just need a female
mm,
because of like the ethnicity or the religion. And then they're like, do this, I need this. And I'm like, oh my God, okay. I once got the worst review I've ever gotten from somebody I never even did a gig for, because I talked to her. I did send a contract, but then she had said, I need this, 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 and this. And then I said, okay, that's going to cost this.
yeah, right.
And then she went online and said, "Don't hire her.
Oh,
You ask
wow.
for one thing and she raises the price on you." And I was like, "Oh my God." Like, I was willing to do a certain amount for a certain amount, but I
Sure.
can't give you
The world.
everything if you're
Right.
not willing to like work with me. So, like, you have to just have those meetings and discussions, and you have to have the right questions to ask. I mean, I just had a process. My process just kind of like came out organically. I didn't even realize it was a process. It was just something I just was doing over and over with my clients. Then as I started attending these conventions, I was learning, oh, there's like CRMs. So I'm going to start doing things differently, but it's also going to still include those full on conversations and like just getting to know them to a certain extent to make sure we're a good fit.
Well, that's what I was saying. I've talked about this before with Randy, that's been with me for 20 plus years now. I might do 40 shows a year. He probably does 120 shows a year. mostly weddings, and he's become so good at the relationship part of it that people damn near forget it's called Bun DJ Company. Like it should be called Bennett DJ Company, his last name, because he's he's doing, the Facebook friending or Instagram following of these couples again 12 months in advance. He's commenting on their posts. He's seeing that they got a new puppy. He's by the time he gets there, and they're following him too. He's literally friends with them.
Yeah.
He's a cufflink collector. They're bringing him, let's say they went to Carolina, Tar Heel, um, Carolina Blue cufflinks, like as his gift to be their DJ. And they're also paying him, $4,000. Like, what is going on here? And so I think that's so important. And then just the little things that I see in the relationships he's built with these vendors, like when I'll go to a NACE meeting or an ALIA meeting, where all the wedding vendors are there, and I can just see that like they're gravitating towards Randy more than they do towards me, and it's just the little touches. Like he does this thing where when he goes and does a wedding, he goes and like gives everybody like 2 Hershey's Kisses, and I don't even know how it started. Like I never even really I didn't know about it for years, and then somebody was like, "You didn't bring me Hershey Kisses," and I'm like, "I don't even know. I don't even. It's hot outside. They're gonna melt. Like I don't even know how he gets them there without it melting because it is so freaking hot here right now." But just like the smallest touches go the furthest distance and get him so many referrals, which in turn help the company. It's really impressive to see.
You know what? I have
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead. Go
well,
ahead.
real quick, one couple that I just met with, it was so cool because they said, "We don't wanna just hire vendors, like, we wanna actually be friends with our vendors." So we
Yeah.
picked people we actually wanna be friends with.
Yeah.
So
Right.
they invited me over to their place. We sat in their kitchen. They wanted to make me margaritas and tacos, which was so cool. We sat and we had a meeting over
Yeah.
talk. Yeah, and then because I'm a weed connoisseur,
Yes.
we started talking about how they're having a weed wedding, and I'm like, "What?" And it was so cool because I've been gifting my clients with these cutting boards that are engraved. Excuse me. A friend of mine started making them for me. Excuse me. And I put a song lyric on it and I'm making them personalized and they're beautiful. And I'm so excited to give these out to everybody. But I got to their house, thank God, and I saw they had a personal engraved cutting board already, exactly like I was giving people. And I
Oh,
was like, oh shit, well, good thing I was here to see that.
yeah,
I would have
yeah,
given them something that they already had. But then I realized that the lady who's making me the cutting boards also makes weed cutting boards.
okay.
So now I'm like, okay, I got a special gift for them because like I'm gonna switch it up on them and I'm gonna give them a little something different. But
This hasn't happened, this wedding hadn't happened?
yeah, but you know what? I'm not scared to put, that I like weed or like I have got like, I do a lot of weed events on my
Sure.
social media. So, and
Yeah,
they're also gay, and so I got to do a lot of gay events. So like because
sure.
I'm very transparent with like who my clients are, they know where to find me, and it's like this is cool. I got like this is gonna be a fun wedding, and I can't wait. And
Right.
I'm like, I want more of these kind of weddings, like
That's
where they
right.
want to be more like friends, whereas like I'm not just hired help.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had people say like, "Oh, you're the kind of guy we'd want to have a beer with." Right, exactly. And I think if you are super transparent on your Instagram and your socials about the kind of events you do and want to do, you're going to attract those kinds of clients. I do not want to play for people that have the DJ as like number 7 on their list of important things. I want people that don't give a shit about cake. They don't give a shit about really the food. All they really want to do is party. And I've been
Yeah.
so fortunate over the years that the people that come to us, and especially that pay more for me personally to come, are highly invested in the dance party. And they tell me that in the consultation or even let's just how quickly can we get through all the formalities and get to the open dancing? And I'm like, you're my girl. Like that's exactly my kind of client.
Oh, you
Let's
know what? I
roll on.
see
Yeah.
Michael Bowman out in he
Mike
said,
Bowman in
what's
the
good?
building.
Mike Bowman, I want to say something I always remember that he told me is that him and Aaron they try to repel clients that they don't want. They said, "No boring clients." I'll never forget this. I wrote it down. I'll still never. No boring clients. We try to repel clients we don't want. And
Genius.
him and yeah, I thought, and I love looking at their social media because you can tell every one of their events is with fun people.
It
So
goes
it's
off.
like that is amazing that they were able to build such a cool vibe that's like we if you want some lame wedding music or you want some lame experience, like we're not the
We're
ones
not
for
it.
you. And they
No,
made it so clear. I'm like, that is genius. Like I want
it
only fun people too. So
it
like,
goes back to confidence. One of these other points you were mentioning, courage.
mhm,
It goes back to knowing who you are, knowing what you want to do, knowing what's going to make you happy, not taking every show.
yeah.
I've had that conversation with so many people. I'm like, dude, you're too good for that show. I know you didn't get any money for it. You shouldn't be doing it. It's almost tarnishing your brand. Let's talk real quickly because I know I think you have a gig tonight or you have to travel somewhere.
Yeah, I'm off to Rhode Island.
Yeah, she's on. This girl's on the move. Let's just briefly touch on gear and being a good mixer or a good DJ, and how these kind of lead to these moments. Um, talk a little bit about that, like how important these things are or these elements are, in what we do in getting you or creating more moments, if you will.
I feel like I got lost in your wording there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically just I wanna know how high level importance it is to you that you are a good DJ, right? How
Oh God,
how
yeah, yeah,
important
yeah.
is that?
Let's
And
talk about
how
that.
important is and I'm not saying you have to have this, video wall behind you, but how important is it to have a clean setup, a booth, furniture or cable management? Like, talk a little bit about that and how it's because I think we all started with a piece of shit rig sitting on a table
Yeah,
with,
for sure.
orange extension cords, but talk a little bit about the progression towards what you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking to somebody who started off as a karaoke host on karaoke equipment, did my first wedding on karaoke equipment with like 8-inch speakers and a karaoke mixer, and no one cared. And I tried
The
to
loud antenna on the bottom, remember those?
honestly, though, it's really cool that, like, when I started off as a DJ, as a karaoke host, my network grew so much that friends
Yeah.
were hiring me for their events, and that allowed me to, like, get my foot in the door for especially weddings. The first wedding I did with all that karaoke equipment was for a friend of mine, and they didn't ask me, "What kind of equipment do you use?
Mm.
How do you mix?"
Mhm.
Like, they didn't ask me any of that. They were just like, "Can you make these announcements?" And it was very basic, so I got my feet started DJing in like weddings, but behind the scenes, I had already had a ton of experience. So I had realized already the importance of presentation. Well, all of the details, they all matter. Like when you're detailing events, you can just see how every little piece contributes to the whole puzzle, and nothing can really like I don't know. I just for me, it's a puzzle, and everything's got to fit perfectly. So
Yeah.
over the years, the more I started DJing, like by accident, like doing these private parties and events, I went from like being a karaoke host who's playing music at events to being like, oh God, this has been like 5 years now. Maybe I should learn how to actually DJ.
Mhm.
So I got my first controller. I started just doing tutorials online. I use
Mhm.
virtual DJ. I use Pioneer equipment. I'm not like super technically inclined, but like I'm really good at being self-taught. So for me, it was really important for me to start mixing. And when I did, and these younger people now, they can
Yeah,
hear,
they
they know
know.
when you're
That's
transitioning
right.
well and when you're
They
stuck in.
do.
So
They
you
do.
can't fool these young people and they
No,
want the quick
they
mixing.
grew up going to bars and clubs where people could actually play, right.
Well, and being able to listen to DJs from all over the world now
Sure.
online without having to go to
Yeah,
any club. So
that's
now they know a good DJ when they hear one and they know when that sucks. So
right.
I have a lot of pride. Like I want to present myself in the most professional manner. I want my sound to sound good. Like
Sure.
and as a karaoke host, it was all about these singers sounding amazing. So that's kind of like one of my things is like I have an ear. And if
Yeah.
things aren't just perfect, then I'm out there tweaking everything. So I I've been out there like doing my listening and people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, something's off. I'm just trying to
Mm.
figure out what it is. Go back, tweak everything. And then I'm like, okay, this is amazing. This sounds good. So like
Yeah.
the sound, the presentation, my mixing skills, my especially my hosting skills, like I've been putting a lot of time, effort, and money into becoming a better MC
Mhm.
because I felt, and I don't know if I'm wrong, but I felt like being this very casual, comfortable host may not be maybe there's something I'm missing. Because I know
Mm.
I've been on a microphone my whole life, but I know I've been spending a lot of time doing my fixing up my DJing skills and everything, but like, what can I do with the hosting that I don't know about? So in November, I'm off to Minnesota to the entertainment experience with Bill
Yeah.
Herman.
Yeah.
He's an actor.
Yeah, I know Bill.
He's like a
He's
voiceover
awesome.
coach. He's
Yeah, Bill's
amazing.
awesome.
So yeah, and
I've
there's
only
also
heard
Mark.
good things about that. Mark Farrell, yeah, both of them.
Yeah, yeah. So and I'm also part of Evolve DJ. So I'm way behind. I swear to God, I was joining Evolve so I could become like this master scratcher. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But I got really behind on everything. So I hope I can go back into my Evolve because I really do
You
want to
can. You can
incorporate.
watch recordings, right. I mean, we all have these, like, peaks and valleys of busy seasons, like, sometimes you have to put a pin in something, even if it's a TV show you're watching and come back to it.
Yeah. I just
A
feel like
little bit.
there's so much growth we have as DJs, whether we're learning how to do better business, better hosting, better DJing, um, and anything, either better networking.
That's what I feel like some people miss, or they don't understand, or they think they know it all. I mean, that couldn't be further from the truth, right? I mean, when I do go to conferences, other than when people have me shooting commercials all day or testimonials for crate hackers, I mean, you'll see me sitting in the room. Like, I'll my goal is to go to these seminars, a lot of them by my friends, my peers, and walk away with something I'm not doing and bring it back home. If I
Yes.
get one note from one seminar, I'm happy with that, right? Because I certainly don't know it all. Even though I'm an educator, I still am learning myself. I still hear things that my DJs do during training and that I'm like, "Ooh, I like that. I think I'm going to start saying that." Or I'll see somebody at a seminar that'll give some golden nugget or a tip, and it's just, I don't know, man. I've really never been at this point where I'm 100% comfortable, and I've always got my foot on the gas. And I think that's why we've stayed at the top of the market for so long. I really do.
Yeah. There's no downtime. I feel like if I'm not working, I'm doing social media or I'm learning. I'm like for the last few months I've been preparing for the branding seminar. So that was like just a lot of webinars, and I got
Yeah.
myself involved in a lot of branding courses so I could just really do the work.
Yeah.
I know that as a speaker, I can definitely be better. Like if I'm looking back at Vegas in February, I would say like I'm on the fence about how well I did as a speaker,
Yeah.
but again, I'm taking a chance. I don't feel like I failed.
Like
I
watching back
definitely
the recording or just thinking about it.
just thinking about I mean, I had some really mixed feedback, and I got
Yeah.
feedback from a friend who I valued his input, and he said that was terrible.
Mm.
And I was all over the place, and I get it. I'm very ADD, and I feel like it's really hard to hide that I'm ADD in my presentations. So if there's anything that from like a
That
Magic
makes it
Moments
big, though.
perspective that like I would want anybody to take away, is that not only is it important for us to create magic moments for ourselves, our family members, whether it's our partners or our children or our clients, like we can do it in outside of the box ideas by just kind of like doing things like reading books, that give us different ideas, or attending conferences that, we learn these little nuggets that we can take back with us.
Sure.
So putting the clients first, making sure they leave there with like at least one or two really big wow factors, whether it was like they're impressed with the lighting or the sound or your mixing, whatever the heck it was, just wow the hell out of them. And that's kind of like the gist of the book, is like how to give you some ideas on like what other companies have done that are in the non-DJ related world, but still really cool to take what you can from those stories and then like do what you can with the info.
Yeah, I agree. So again, if you join us late, if you want to check out that book, it's The Power of Moments, Chip and Dan Heath. Um, Stephanie's with us today. She is on, make sure you're following her, by the way, on Instagram at, that's it, right? DJ Stephanie
That's me.
Stardust.
Yep.
That's not the most perfect name for her ever. I couldn't have thought of a better name.
Thank you.
Any final words? I mean, this was super helpful. I love talking about stuff like this, about just, I mean, this is why we do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it's great money and it is a lot of fun, but there's very few jobs in this world where you can actually, create these core memories for these couples, and or for people in general, and I'm super grateful that I get to do it every day.
Me too. I feel like we're really lucky, and it feels
Yeah.
good when you
Yeah.
feel like all of your hard work and effort has like you can just see it coming into fruition. And one of my favorite moments, and I'll just end with this, is
Mhm.
the couple had given me just some songs, like ideas to end with, but they weren't really set on anything. And this is where like intuition comes in and getting to know your clients. And this isn't even something that they told me. And for some reason, I don't know how this didn't come up in any of our conversation, but
Yeah.
it was time to end the wedding. It was the last song of the night. And I went up to them and I said, this is the last song. Like, how do you want this to go down? And she said,
Close it, yeah.
any Taylor Swift song.
Mhm.
The Taylor Swift song that I chose was Love Story. And I'll just never
Mhm.
forget this because not only did they went crazy, like you could just tell this song, obviously everybody goes nuts
Yeah,
with this
makes
at weddings,
sense.
but
Sure.
I didn't know. And she asked me after, did you know that he proposed to me to that song? And I said, I had no freaking idea. No. But like just her giving me the Taylor Swift, me having, our background knowledge of music and
Knew what
stuff.
would
And
yeah, knew that would go over the hardest, right? Yeah.
I mean, again, sometimes intuition, I don't know if we all have it, but like sometimes something just tells you play this song or like do this at this moment, and it just takes off and it goes over so well. So I just
Yeah.
think like trusting in gut and your intuition and your gut to sometimes make decisions is like, I don't know. I feel like it helps me make decisions in the moment. I
The
go with what
confidence,
what your
yeah. And
what your
that's a
head
hard
tells you.
thing to teach, right? Confidence in it comes with experience, and that's the hardest thing about some of these newer DJs I have, that are 30, under 30. It's like, man, I can teach you everything. I can teach you what to say, but I mean, sometimes that intuition or that experience or that confidence, it's just going to grow as you do more shows.
Hmm.
Anyway, everybody, thank y'all so much. Whoever said that they need that selling the music, just message me on whatever platform. I'll send you that link if you don't have it anymore or it's not in the vault anymore. I think it was super long. Anyway, message me, whoever that is. Thank y'all so much, Stephanie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're the best.
Thank
Everybody have a
you.
great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll be back soon with another one of these expert interviews. Thanks, y'all.
Bye guys.
Bye.